Hi guys, welcome back to Homemade Homestead. I'm Jesse.
And I'm Rachel.
And we are back for another video. It seems like it's been a really long one since last.
Yeah, it has been a while, yeah.
So sorry about that. There's been a lot of stuff that's been going on just around the homestead, but hopefully we get to bring you guys along for some of that. Before we get into all that, I feel like I personally owe you guys an apology. You've been seeing a lot of Rachel, which I think she's the more attractive of the couple personally, but I would have liked to have been doing more filming, but it's just, I feel like between work and then stuff that I see needs to be done in the yard, like when I get home, and there's just not enough hours in the day, and I don't know, I feel like it's a hard thing to juggle that with, you know, between that and work, and anyway, so I apologize, but it's good to be back with you guys.
Yeah, I like doing videos better with him than just by myself, but we're so excited to take you around the garden and show you what we've been up to, what he's been doing a lot of.
Come see. Yeah, as we're doing this, you may notice we've got a little passenger. He's going to be joining us for a lot of it. We bought this thing because Rachel saw it on, I think, Justin Rhodes' channel.
Yes.
He was carrying around his little one basically everywhere he went. And so we bought one to give it a try, just because she likes to be up and with us pretty much everywhere. Weren't sure how she was gonna take to it, but she loves the thing. She gets so excited when she sees me putting it on. So previous years we've tried several different methods for trying to train our tomatoes, just so they're a little bit easier to walk through. I feel like when the tomatoes specifically, when they get up and fully growing and stuff, especially if we don't get to pruning them right away, they can just get so out of hand. We have a hard time just finding our way through things without snapping some vines. So we've tried a bunch of different methods, Florida weaving, and just trying to string them up in different ways. This year, we're trying something a little bit more rigid than just twine. We actually got some cattle panels, and we put them up here with some T-posts. Rachel found this stuff. What was it called, babe?
Like tie tape or something like that.
And that's to sort of help train the tomato plants up along. They won't naturally just find the cattle panels and start climbing, but if we give them that little bit of help, hopefully they'll find their way eventually. And that's just to sort of help them grow more vertically and keep them up off the ground as well. That'll be nice for us, and it'll be healthier for the plants.
So we planted a little bit over 100 tomato plants.
We scaled back.
We scaled. Yeah, and we have a variety of beefsteak, Chadwick, which are a little smaller cherry tomato, some Roma tomatoes, some little pear, right? Wasn't it yellow pear?
Oh yeah, yellow pear.
That's our kids' favorite.
Some beefsteaks.
Yes, some Kellogg's. They're like a round yellow tomato. So we did a couple varieties of those, and only 104 plants. We'll see.
But you know, we also have to figure, you know, between the weather and the pests and kids that like to walk out in the garden and play in the garden and pull things and maybe snap things off. It dwindles down over the course of the season.
So when we're filming this, it's June 14th, and we had a freak frost on June 9th, I think it was. We've been so hot here and dry. It's been like in the 90s. Today it hit 100. We haven't had rain in like weeks, and then all of a sudden it dipped down to it said 33 degrees online. So we know for our area,
right, it's about 10 degrees cooler.
It can be.
It can be.
It can be. I don't think we got that cold, but we took precautions and we decided to cover everything, which was a little trick. With the cattle panels, we took like baby blankets. We used whatever we could.
Towels.
Towels, yes. And then we'll show you the melon patch. We did use a lot of tarps where we could. But it did actually freeze here June 9th.
Yeah,
so.
There was one tomato plant that got left out, or wasn't quite covered, or was it?
Yes,
it was on the...
no, I missed it. It was right here. I actually pulled it up today.
Yep.
But yes, it was.
It did freeze, so it was just, well, we're glad we covered. It was better to be safe.
Yes. So these are the tomatoes. We're excited to see how the cattle panels will work. And then over here we have a patch of peas, and they are blossoming. But honestly, it's getting so hot, I don't know what they're gonna do, because it doesn't usually get this hot this soon. We also have some random chamomile over here. Of course, hummingbird feeders all over, because we love to bring them in, and flowers. And then right over here, we have this whole row of green beans. It's actually quite a bit of green beans, but I always plant my green beans really close together and it seems to work out okay. But yeah, this is a whole row of green beans and we're trellising them too on just some welded wire.
I don't know if any of us actually likes green beans, but it's healthy, so we try to keep a balanced variety of vegetables in our diet.
That's right, you don't like them.
For our health.
I like them. The kids seem to tolerate them.
They're kind of a good nostalgic flavor around, you know, Thanksgiving time or something like that.
And then right beside him, we have a huge patch of melons and cantaloupe and, well, that is a melon. Squash, that's the other word I'm looking for. And they're just barely starting to come up. Some of them are a little further along than others. I don't know what determines that, but you can kind of see we have some random sunflowers. I'm really excited about our melons and squashes.
Yeah, a lot of them did really well. They actually sprouted, most of them.
And we have the stakes to try to tell the kids, hey, please don't step here. It's been working okay.
Okay.
And then right back here, we have 3 rows of cucumbers. We have never had good success with cucumbers.
Yeah, Rachel had a good idea. I don't know if you got it from somewhere else, but she tried to actually plant the seeds indoors, start them as you know, cucumber starts, and then transplant those out here. Previous years, we've just planted them in seeds, and we've never gotten anything.
Yeah.
But these things are not only growing, they came up inside the house, and then we transplanted, and they're still alive.
Yeah, and they're actually putting on several leaves too.
How long has it been? How long have they been out here?
They've been out here for a week or 2, so they're acclimating.
The whole time we've lived here, I've been so wanting that, to grow cucumbers, and we've just never had any success, and I've been super bummed every year.
Yeah.
But this is actually exciting to see living plants out here still.
Now, one area that I find kind of sad and frustrating is our pepper patch. Our jalapenos look semi-okay. We planted about 30 pepper plants here. And I planted actually a lot of bell peppers, and sadly they are mostly dead. I mean, every once in a while you'll find one that looks really good, but between that like freak frost, and we actually had a bull in our garden. I don't know if you can tell behind me, there's a field and they're raising a few bulls back there, like 3 bulls, and the one busted through their fence and came and was like trampling right through the pepper patch. So, you know, between the weather and animals and, like Jesse said, all that stuff, you're gonna lose some plants.
But they're doing, oh, you notice we made this nifty little perimeter fence of sorts out of all these little cages. That's mostly for the kids' benefit. I don't think the peppers will have any use for them, but this is just to sort of try to help direct the flow.
Because our kids have trampled several plants already, so. And then right over here, Jesse planted a corn patch.
I think my 2 boys, both of the 2 boys helped planting the corn. I think they were excited about it. They really liked it. And we had a great corn crop was it just last year? We had a really good corn year. Yeah. So we're super excited. They all actually started to come up. Rachel was so sweet and she weeded all of them, I think, was it yesterday?
Something like that.
And they're looking great.
Being pretty far along, it is hard for me to bend over and weed, but I found using like a hoe or something really helps with the bending. So I've still been able to weed. I try to come out and weed about an hour every morning with the boys, and
she says she's trying to cut back.
Trying to. But you know how it is. You can't let the weeds go. It's better to get them when they're small than to let them overtake your garden.
We've also gotten a couple rolls that we haven't gotten out here yet of big rolls of some black plastic and some weed barrier material, just to try to put along the barriers. At some point, you can tell the grass here kind of has a tendency to just encroach all along the edges. It always seems to do that, and it's just hard as can be to try to keep that at bay. And especially over here, we've planted some tomatoes over here, and boy, when you try to dig the holes down in the ground to plant these things, you can sure tell the difference when it is so hard getting bound up with all that grass. So eventually we'd like to get that plastic out, some of that weed barrier out here, and get all that smothered. Apparently it works pretty well. We haven't gotten it out here yet, but as of right now, we're trying to put just some cardboard down. You see I've got it weighted down with some rocks. Hopefully that'll smother some of the grass around these tomatoes, get some of that grass out of there so that these things can breathe properly.
And you got a cute cat in the background too, playing. So over here I just have a bunch of greens. We have a bunch of different types of lettuces, some kale, Swiss chard, and some spinach up there. A couple cabbages. So this is a lot of greens. I need to start harvesting them because it is so hot. They're just gonna go to seed. So
Doesn't it look pretty? It just looks so nice. Rachel, this is one of the things that she was out here. She did this basically all by herself, if not totally by herself, just planting all of these things. And they look just so lush.
I love the varieties of different lettuces. This one is so pretty to me. It's green, but it's got like purple dots on it. You know, so when you make a salad, it's so nice to have a variety.
I think I mentioned before, we planted potatoes kind of just everywhere there was some spare dirt. Did we plant most of the garden beforehand? And then we just kind of sort of found bare pieces that were left of the dirt. And we're just like, yeah, sure, put some potatoes there. We had a lot of potatoes left over between the ones that we bought and the seed potatoes from last year from our own. And look at all the ones that came up. I just barely got this weeded. You wouldn't know it. But a couple days ago, we're going to try to get some ground cover put on these things.
Straw, right? Is it straw, hay?
Yeah,
kinda?
straw, or mostly hay, I think.
Okay.
That we have from a local goat farmer, actually. She keeps a lot of goats, and she lets us muck her stalls every once in a while. This stuff that we have that we're going to use, we didn't have to muck the stalls for, which was kind of nice. It was just some leftover hay scrap that was, you know, in piles that the goats didn't want anymore. She let us take that, and that's all really nice and fluffy and light, which will be really good. We're going to put those down along in between the rows, hopefully stifle out some of those weeds and also hold the water down on the ground, which is very relevant this year.
And even some of them are starting to blossom. We were running out of space, so like Jesse said, we were just kind of squeezing stuff in. So over here, we actually have some green cabbage. They like it because our fence is right there, and so it gets shade from about 3 o'clock on in the afternoon. And with it being so hot, they're actually doing really well over here.
What you see here is some of Rachel's ingenuity. She remembered over in our carrot patch from last year, we had those bags of leaves, a few, maybe 5 or 6 bags still left of leaves that we had laid on the carrots just to try to protect them over the winter. And she remembered that we had those, and she decided we could cut up in those bags and use those leaves, and we're using that instead of hay over here. Works nicely.
And don't get us wrong, there's a lot of weeds still needing to be tackled. Over here I have a patch of beets. You could barely see them through all the weeds that I need to do. And also onions in here somewhere. And we even have garlic behind it. But I mean, you have to pick your battles, and right now I just haven't been over here to weed. But you can see there's onions in there somewhere. So we will unearth those.
And I'm right in here.
Here's one potato patch Jesse's worked hard on though. He's done hay and those leaves, and he's mulched them so well, and they are loving it. I think it's really helping to hold that moisture where we're not getting any rain, so they're looking really good.
Mommy, we need rain.
We do need rain. Go ahead.
On the subject of weeds, you can see this is another potato patch, believe it or not. See, there's some potato leaves growing up.
And there's weeds like this.
Yeah, there's weeds.
We'll get these weeds under control. I'm confident we'll be able to tackle these sometime.
And then mulch. Go back
and then
through
mulch.
and then mulch.
Absolutely.
And that'll help a lot.
And then over here you can see the bigger leaves amongst the smaller weed leaves. That is all broccoli, which despite the weeds, it looks like they're all pretty healthy.
Yeah, and again, it's up against that fence, so it does get quite a bit of shade. And we do live in a semi-northern climate too, so our growing season is a little bit different than, you know, other people's. We freeze late and we freeze early, so things are a little small, but they usually take off and do pretty well. You ready to get out of there? Yeah, okay.
I think that about does it for our 2021 spring garden tour.
Yep.
We'll try to keep you updated as this thing continues to mature and grow. But it's a beautiful time of day out here.
Mm-hmm.
We can't get out here much earlier than about 8 o'clock, you know, and it's just so miserable, but this is just perfect.
You want to get out?
It's a little late for this one, little one.
Yeah. You ready for bath and bed, huh? More? Okay, we'll get you out.
Well, thanks for joining us for that tour. It was sure fun walking around with you guys and finally getting to film and see you guys. It's been a really long time. I missed you guys. But hope to see you again real soon in the next video. And until then, we hope you're having an awesome day. You have a good one.